Welcome back to Lifestyle. Hey, listen, you know, it can be so overwhelming when you're choosing paint colors, but what if I told you that it was as easy as playing a game? Listen, PPG Paints has this, it's called the Voice of Color, and being the designer I am, I thought I'm going to stump the game. I'm going to keep playing it and see if it comes up with different ideas, but it's like a personality test that you can take. It's free, and we're going to be talking a lot about it. So take a look at this quick video, then we'll come back and talk to Ruthanne about some more.
Alexander Palmer is drawn to compassionate people, warm bronzes and coppers, the aroma of fresh-baked bread, and new-mown hay. All this was revealed at voiceofcolor.com, the exclusive color evaluation tool from PPG Porter Paints. It let Alexander express her true voice in choosing colors for her home. You can play too. Discover the world's most intuitive color selection system at voiceofcolor.com and your PPG Porter Paints dealer.
So that's what we're talking about, is how you can play this game, and I want to introduce my guest to you. This is Ruthanne Hanlon. Welcome, Ruthanne, with PPG. Tell me what you do there at PPG.
I'm the National Color and Design Consultant for PPG, so I go out and meet with homeowners. I work with a lot of builders, multifamily, hotels, pretty much anyone who struggles with color decisions, which is everybody.
Right.
And we help them put together palettes that works for their project.
Well, show me, I mean, this is a typical wheel, and of course designers have a bazillion of these. I still have the old one. In fact, I specified a paint the other day. I had to get Kent to send me a sample of it because he said, honey, you must have a really old deck. And I said, well, hey, they're all classics. But this is what people are looking at, and it can get overwhelming.
It is. It's very overwhelming, and you're going to need this new deck. It's brand new. It's our new color system that's out, but you'll be happy to know there's 2,053 colors in here. We pulled over 1,400 from the deck you're using. So all your favorites, the Toasted Almonds, the Dusty Trails, those all made their way in here.
And of course here, it's the original Belle Meade Green.
Yes. And that is on our Nashville color collection, which is available at our local stores. We have a collection specific to Nashville, and Belle Meade Green is on there.
Well, that's what I'm getting ready to paint, some columns, and I'm really excited to see them go up because we're going from white to the Belle Meade Green. Woo, it's going to look good.
Yes, it will look fantastic though.
So tell me about this. Let's talk about how this Voice of Color came to be, and how do you use it?
Well, the game came about because this system is a bit overwhelming for the average homeowner. There's just so many color choices, and we know it's a struggle to choose those and find the perfect color for your home. So we developed this game, which is based on your senses and your personality. It takes about 10 minutes to play.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was really easy. You just go to, tell them about the website and how they go, and we'll talk about what we're seeing here.
So this is all available at www.voiceofcolor.com, and on there you will find all sorts of information. You can play the Color Sense game, you can view our trend collections. They're all archived since we've been doing them. Our individual palettes are on there. You can download our color palette if you're using that kind of software. Some inspiration photos, all sorts of information on helping you choose the perfect color. But the Color Sense game is the most popular, and this is a system that's based on your senses and your personality, and it helps you discover your color personality.
And so really what you're focusing on is the style of decor, where you live, because the light plays a lot into it, and also the regional influences. And then you go to the next step of the game.
And this is the important part, because this takes not only into account where you are, but more importantly who you are, so that your color palettes are tailored to your personality, your style, even your family.
And so this is where you would choose. They give you a choice of the 3 options here, and then you choose your favorite, and then you go to the next screen.
Correct. And then it'll go through different words of elements that are important to you, and then it will go through your senses, because that's how we all connect to the world. For me, I smell a wood-burning fireplace and I'm instantly at my grandparents' house. So it will go through.
So you would maybe choose comfort. I think I may have chosen passion, because I was like, woo, orange, passion. And so, it's something you don't think about too heavily, but you just keep clicking, and then you end up here with the results of the game. Now, this is not everybody's result. This is called Blue Persuasion.
Yes, that's just an example.
But I was actually called the Spice of Life.
which is
I've got the
perfect.
spice of life right here on
Denise has
LifeStyle.
the spice, and this is actually one of the collections from the Spice of Life.
Okay, now you've got to look at this and look at the set. My set it looks like I could have taken some of these colors just for...
You have your orange, you have the green and the window treatments, the off-white and the furnishings and the rug.
So the results, once you get to the results, what are you going to get? I mean, what is it going to show you?
Well, it gives you a primary and a secondary collection. Your primary is typically the main one that you use, but you can tie the two together. I know your second one was Pastel Wonders, which is also represented here. So, for example, you were Spice of Life, and within that is these individual, we call them Harmony collections or Harmony palettes. These are Harmony collections. These are the Harmony palettes.
Right.
And these are based on the 60-30-10 ratio, which goes way back to Da Vinci and the master painters. They believed if you use colors in ratios of 60-30-10, you would achieve perfect harmony. So that's why they're called their Harmony collections.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't it great?
Great history.
So in this example, which was your set here, you have 5 colors, and it's completely up to the individual to decide which one they want to be their 60. You know, in this case, the orange is the dominant one, but you may prefer green. So you could have the green be your 60, and then you pick one to be your 30%, and then another to be your 10. You can use all 5 colors or just 3. It's completely up to the individual in your space.
So you really say that this is based on your personality. A lot of times people want to choose their colors based on a trend, but we want to kind of stay away from that because you want it to grow with your personality.
And you want it to reflect who you are. You know, we're all living crazy lives nowadays and running 24/7, so I think it's extra important to have your home reflect who you are and have those colors, so when you come home it's just a nice embrace from the space that you live in. It's a nice break from our crazy lives.
And one of the things that we talk about too is maybe there's a color palette here, maybe if I had chosen the green, you know, you say that there needs to be an adjustment time, because sometimes it's maybe not a color you've used before.
Absolutely. That's probably what I deal with more than anything else is it's a big change. You know, even if you're going to a light or medium color, the brain is a very funny thing when it comes to change, and there's been all sorts of studies done on this. But and you got to keep in mind too, when you're having your home painted, everything is out of the space. The window treatments are down, the furniture is out. You come in after your husband's done painting or the contractor's done, and all you see is this big block of color. Where once you start putting the area rug back, the window treatments up, your artwork, that color takes on a much less dominant role and becomes, it fits into that puzzle and makes sense. So the industry standard is typically 2 weeks to adjust to a new color. It never takes that long, but at least give it a couple days. If you're thinking you might want to change it or alter it, give it a couple days. If you know, when you get your hair cut and the first couple times you look in the mirror, it's shocking because it's not what you remember. Or you know, you get a new car and all the controls are in the wrong spot. But after you've driven it a couple days, it starts to make sense. So same thing. Be fair to it. Give it some time and give yourself time to adjust to it.
And so I like what one of the things that you talked about here was the light, how light plays with the, you know, and in different regions the lighting is different.
Even different parts of the home, the north or south exposure.
Right. Tell us a little bit about that, about keeping you know, that in mind, because some areas it may not work if you're not getting enough sunlight in a room, right?
Correct. And that's why it's very important. It's so critical when you're at a paint store looking at those paint swatches, take it home and look at it in your space with your light. And if you're looking for a color for your dining room, don't look at it in the living room because that light may be different. If it's going to be your ceiling color, you know, have it up on that level because it gets a different quality of light up on the ceiling versus a vertical surface on the wall. And a real important tip too is to, if you're considering a new color, don't put the color next to your existing wall color.
Oh,
right. Because it will impact. If you have white walls, it's going to make your colors look very dark. So put it on the window treatments or your area rug, your, you know, whatever. Only look at it with colors that are going to remain in the space. Don't look at it with colors that will no longer be there because it will influence your decision.
Right. So say we've taken the voice of color, we've gone there, we've taken, we've played the game, and now we have all these colors. Let's show some examples of how they're used in the home.
So this is a great example, and you can see in this one they chose to use the burgundy as their 60% on the walls, the off-white is their 30% on the ceilings, and then they rounded out the space with the neutral on the sofa. There's an accent of that deeper purple on the pillows, but it's the entire palette.
That's beautiful. Oh, this is really pretty.
Exactly, so very subtle, and that one may have been a stronger palette, but they chose to use the lighter neutral as their 60% on the walls. That deeper, the ancient copper, is used on their doors, so that was just a 10%.
I like that as an accent, and I like that they didn't just follow the old rule of the door has to be the same color as the molding. I just did that where we painted the trim in more of a plum purple color, and we did more of a creamy color on the door, and I really like that. Oh, tell me about this color palette. Ooh, that looks like the Rothko.
And it very much looks like your set colors as well. So
well, you can see why I'm excited.
That's another popular design trend right now, is to do a feature color, whether it be on a wall. Here they did it on the fireplace as a bump out. So again, they used one of the Harmony palettes and used the green as their 60%. The copper color was their 30% as their accent, and then the off-white was the trim and the ceiling. And if you notice, we don't have a lot of white ceilings in those, because that's something everyone should explore about, just getting away from that stark white on their ceiling, especially, and this is a great example of that. If they had the stark white on their ceiling, it would have just been a jarring contrast to the rest of the space.
Exactly, and you're treating your ceiling as your fifth wall. You want to make sure that you're treating that as well. Now this looks a little bit more soothing. I could imagine that this person probably chose the calm, when they were going through the color game. Tell me more about this. Great colors for a bath.
Oh, like I said, very soothing, almost has that spa feel to it, which is, again, another popular design trend right now, just trying to make those master suites a sanctuary, an escape from those crazy lights. And this is a beautiful palette for that. It's very soft, not a lot of high contrast between most of the elements, and again, you can see how they use the green was a 60%, and then rounded out with those spaces. Same, here's another example of an accent wall, and bringing in just that little pop of color, which is a great thing to do if you love those deeper oranges or those brighter reds, but you don't want an entire room of it. Just bring in a little bit. Maybe it's a feature wall. Maybe it's the bedding or accents or accessories, just a little bit of it. But if you love a color, you should definitely try and bring it in some aspect.
Well, speaking of bedrooms, one of the things I like to do is to use a little bit darker colors in a bedroom, because, and Dr. Oz was talking about this the other day, about when you sleep, you really need a little bit darker colors. If you have too much light coming in, and of course we know a lighter color is going to reflect.
Right.
So if you want to be a little bit daring, the bedroom's a great place to do it, don't you think, Ruthanne?
Absolutely, especially if you're considering a darker color. It fits really well in there. Another great place to experiment with those bolder colors is half bath, or even the dining rooms, because if we have for those homes that still have formal dining rooms, if you have them, you don't tend to use them that often, but when you do, it's a special occasion.
Right.
So why not add to that the ambience of it, and they almost become artwork that's framed by the doorway from the hall or the kitchen or the adjacent spaces. So it's a really nice place to experiment with some bolder, brighter colors.
So let's recap. So if we want to make sure that everybody understands that they can go take the test today,
right now,
for free on your website, voiceofcolor.com.
Correct.
And where do they go? I know that once I went on there, I had to look it up. Where do you go once you get there, or can you just Google it? Can you search it once you get there?
There's a couple different ways to find a location on the website. So it'll say find a dealer, and then we also have a fantastic app that it helps you choose colors from a photo, look at our collections, and then there's a area where you can put in your zip code, and it will tell you the closest store or dealer to you.
And once we find the color that we want to rush out and get that paint. Say, hey, I saw you on LifeStyle, and I want to go get the paint that I see that matches my personality. So they can look there to see where your PPG Porter Paints locations are right here in Nashville.
Correct. Yes, we have several in the area. We have thousands of them from coast to coast. So depending on from where you're watching, chances are there's a PPG Porter location very close to you.
That was fantastic. Ruthanne, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful, it's really a gift because it's absolutely free. And speaking of color, as you can see, we've got some gorgeous color. Look at that just popping off of your screen right now. That's Ilex for Flowers. And one of their secrets is, you've heard that aspirin or vinegar will prolong the life of cut flowers. Well, actually, sorry to say, but that's a myth. Hey, you can contact them at 736-5200. And coming up, I'm going to be talking about sugared fruit. In fact, I've sugared kumquats before until my fingers look like stalactites. But how do you use that sugared fruit? I'm going to show you right after this. So come on back.
And that's all for good.